I would request Dr. Manish Balwani to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gawai, Justice Supreme Court of India, with a floral bouquet. I request Dr. Jigar Shrimali to kindly welcome Honorable Mrs. Justice Sunita Agarwal, Chief Justice of High Court of Gujarat, with a floral bouquet. I would request Dr. Manish Balwani to welcome Dr. Anish Srivastav, President, Indian Society of Organ Transplant, with a floral bouquet.
Let us begin this ceremony by seeking the blessings of Ma Saraswati. I request all the dignitaries seated on the dais to kindly join and light the traditional samai and seek blessings of Goddess Saraswati. Thank you all. I now invite Dr. Sunil Vashankar, renowned cardiologist from Nagpur, to introduce the chief guest of today's function, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gawai, Justice Supreme Court of India, to our gathering.
Good evening all. Respected honorable dignitaries on the dais, my seniors, my teachers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce basically my mentor and mentor for many, many people, Justice Bhushan Gawai, Senior Judge, Supreme Court of India. Born in a family with a political background and high human and social values, he is the eldest son of ex-governor of Kerala, late R.S. Gawai and Mrs. Kamalatai Gawai. He graduated in law, and people were thinking whether we would see another stalwart in politics, but destiny had something else to offer. He joined bar in 1985, and as is said that great achievements requires great sacrifices. He thereafter practiced in Bombay High Court from 1987 to 1990, in Nagpur High Court from 1990 and 1992. He was standing counsel for many corporations. Thereafter, he became a government pleader, assistant government pleader and government pleader. And then the day arrived when he became High Court Justice in Bombay. And he served as High Court Justice in Bombay from 2003 to 2019. Thereafter, in 2019, he was elevated to Supreme Court of India, and till date he is serving. There are innumerable judgments which are landmark as far as Gawai sir is concerned, but certain which needs to be acknowledged and which most of people know is right to establishment of education institute is a fundamental right. Then when we talk about medical field and Bhushan Gawai sir, he had been in Nagpur High Court for a long time, and 3 to 4 colleges which I know and which I am also alumni of, like Government Medical College, IGMC, Gondia Medical College, Chandrapur. The infrastructure and bringing up this college greatly goes to Justice Bhushan Gowai. He is basically a judge of a common man because he understands the basic difficulties which a common individual faces. Leave apart medical fraternity, he has been associated with many doctors, practically in Nagpur and in Maharashtra and even in India, I know. He has been acquainted with many people. A dynamic personality, a prolific orator, great administrative capabilities, great quality of taking of everyone, and is extremely popular amongst. Coming to organ donation, he has been instrumental when I conducted few organ donation exercises in Nagpur. He was instrumental in coming forward and educating society. Successful people are not gifted, ladies and gentlemen. They just work hard and then succeed on the purpose. So with this, I present to you the future Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Bhushan Gowai, a prolific orator and administrator, a simple down-to-earth human being, a role model for many of us, a fearless stickler for the rule of law, and a crusader of justice in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. Now I request Dr. Vivek Kute, Organizing Chairman of the Annual Conference of the ISOT 2024 Ahmedabad, to address the August gathering with a welcome note.
Respected Honorable Sri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, Chief Minister of Gujarat and Chief Patron of this ISOT opening ceremony. Respected Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gowai, Justice Supreme Court of India and Chief Guest of this event. Respected Honorable Mrs. Justice Sunita Agarwal, Chief Justice High Court of Gujarat, Guest of honor of this event, distinguished guest Dr. Anil Kumar, Dr. Pranjal Modi, Dr. Chirag Trivedi, all the delegates, faculty and attending. Welcome to the 34th Annual Conference of Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, ISOT 2024 in Ahmedabad, a UNESCO World Heritage City. I am Dr. Vivek Kute, Chairman of Organizing Committee, and I am honored to host this prestigious event, bringing together pioneers and experts in organ transplantation. Over the next few days, we will share cutting-edge research, innovative ideas, and best practices to advance patient care. Our vision is to overcome gender disparity in organ transplantation and increase access to affordable transplantation through One Nation, One Swab transplant program and increase transplant activity in the government hospitals, promoting disease donation with government support. With guidance from all distinguished guests present on the dais and all transplant professionals, we aim to make significant stride in addressing critical issue and propel India to become world leader in transplantation from its current position as a third. Thank you for your presence at the conference. We look forward to a fruitful and insightful discussion. Welcome to opening ceremony of ISOT 2024.
Thank you, Dr. Kute. I now request Dr. Anish Srivastav, President, Indian Society of Organ Transplant, to deliver his welcome note to today's gathering.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel ji, Honorable Justice Bhushan Gowai sir, Justice Supreme Court of India, our Chief Guest, Mrs. Sunita Agarwal, Chief Justice, Gujarat High Court, our guest of honor, Dr. Anil Kumar, Tutor Director, international faculty who have traveled from abroad, taking all the pains to make this event great and successful. Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, gives me great pleasure as a president of the society to welcome you all to this occasion. We all know, and as Vivek has already highlighted, that the main motto of these societies is to spread knowledge, awareness, better awareness, education not only to our colleagues but to the patients. But ISOT, this society has an additional responsibility. What is that? We have many patients waiting to get an organ transplant done. We do only 10% out of the waiting population. And how to take care of this gap? So one of the ways is the deceased organ donation, promoting the cause. And I am extremely happy today to mention that we have the Honorable Justices from the Gujarat High Court who are going to pledge for the organ donations. This event is going to be a great, not only national and international news, which is going to spread awareness, encourage organ donation amongst the general public and everybody. So I thank all of them from my bottom of heart for taking this cause, and thank you all for this. Please enjoy the next two subsequent days of the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On this auspicious occasion, we mark the release of the book, Renal Pathology Express, authored by Dr. Radhika Krishna Patil, Vice President, Basic Science, ISOT. The book is a comprehensive resource for the practicing nephrologists having clinical case and renal pathology images designed to decipher the complex renal pathological entities. May I request our Chief Patron, Honorable Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, Chief Minister of State of Gujarat, to kindly unveil the book. Thank you, sir. Technology and software has enhanced our lives in phenomenal proportions. Today's inauguration ceremony is a historic moment and a turning point in the organ sharing endeavor of India's transplant community, as we mark the release of ISOT swap software for the pair organ donation. It would offer a new lease of life for patients awaiting kidney and liver transplant due to incompatible pairs. The software is a revolutionary platform to assess the huge HLA and blood group compatibility data for donor and recipient pairs who wish to get enrolled for pair organ donation. May I request our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gavai, Justice Supreme Court of India, to officially inaugurate the Indian Society of Organ Transplants SWAP software to our audience today.
In our country, where thousands are in need of kidney and liver transplants, finding compatible donors, especially for sensitized patients, can be challenging. Swap transplants offer hope by connecting incompatible pairs, giving patients a new chance at life. However, swap transplants in India face formidable obstacles. The absence of a unified nationwide network for swap transplantation, as seen in other countries, combined with inadequate information sharing among consultants, slow and error-prone manual matching processes, and complex logistics, frequently impede these life-saving procedures.
To address these issues, ISOT SWAP was created
with the support of the Indian Society of Organ Transplantation and under the guidance of esteemed experts in nephrology, immunology, and liver transplantation, leaders who came together from across India and beyond for this altruistic mission. The project is spearheaded by Dr. Sakthi, a young nephrologist.
iSort Swap is a fully online, double encrypted, and secure software platform that provides automated, real-time virtual matching, generating swap pairs and chains using advanced algorithms to find the best donor-recipient matches.
Join us in changing lives and embracing the future of swap transplants in India with iSort Swap.
ISOT 2024 would like to felicitate the national and international luminaries for their contribution in the field of organ transplant. I would request them to please accept the recognition by hands of our Chief Patron, Honorable Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, Chief Minister of State of Gujarat. Dr. Anish Srivastav, President, ISOT. Dr. Arpita Ray Chaudhary, President-elect ISOT. Dr. Georgie Abraham, past President ISOT. Dr. Anil Kumar, Director Noto. Dr. Vivek Pute, Organizing Chairman ISOT 2024 Ahmedabad. Now I would request our Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gavai, Justice Supreme Court of India, to felicitate the faculties. Dr. Manish Balwani, Honorable Secretary ISOT. Dr. Elmi Muller, President, the Transplantation Society. Dr. Stephen G. Tullius, Editor-in-Chief of Transplantation and Transplantation Direct Journal. Thank you, sir. May I request our guest of honor, Honorable Mrs. Sunita Agarwal, Chief Justice of High Court of Gujarat, to felicitate the faculties. Dr. Chirag Doshi, Director UN Mehta Institute of Cardiology and Research Center, Ahmedabad. Dr. Pranjal Modi, Vice Chancellor, Gujarat University of Transplantation Services and Director, IKDRC, Ahmedabad. Dr. Jigar Shrimali, Organizing Secretary, ISOT 2024, Ahmedabad. Shri Dilip Dada Deshmukh, liver transplant recipient and founder Amdan Charitable Trust. Thank you, ma'am.
The annual conference of ISOT 2024 is marked by landmark orations in the field of organ transplantation. May I request our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gawai, Justice Supreme Court of India, to present orations to the awardees for the year 2024. Dr. H.L. Trivedi Oration, Dr. Dori Segev. Dr. Vidya Acharya Oration, Dr. Vivek Kute. Dr. RVS Yadav Oration, Dr. Jamal Rizvi. Dr. K.N. Uduppa, Memorial Lecture, Dr. Saurabh Sharma. ISOT Tankers Young Investigator Awardee 2024, Dr. S. Sakti Selvakumar. The Fellowship of Indian Society of Organ Transplant is awarded for significant contributions to the field of organ transplantation. May I now request Dr. Anish Srivastav, Honorable President of the ISOT, to present the Fellowship of Indian Society of Organ Transplant to the awardees. To join on stage in alphabetical order, Dr. Amol Bhavani. Dr. Amresh Krishna. Dr. Ashish Nandwani. Dr. Balkrishna Upadhyay. Dr. Dilip Kumar Pahadi. Dr. Hemant Kumar. Dr. Himanshu Patel. Dr. Manish Jain. Dr. Shiv Narayan Acharya. Dr. Umesh Oja. Thank you, sir. May I now request our guest of honor, Honorable Mrs. Justice Sunita Agrawal, Chief Justice of High Court of Gujarat, to address our August gathering.
Good evening to Honorable Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, Chief Minister, State of Gujarat, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan R. Gavai, Judge Supreme Court of India, Shri Manish R. Balwani, Secretary, Indian Society of Organ Transplant, ISOT, Dr. Vivek B. Kute, Organizing Chairman, Indian Society of Organ Transplant, ISOT, Dr. Jigar Shimali, Organizing Secretary, Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, Dr. Anish Srivastava, President, ISOT, my brother and sister judges of Gujarat High Court, Indian Society of Organ Transplantation of Bodies, Council, Organizing Committee, Support Team, international guests and media persons. When Dr. Vivek B. Kote met me to extend the invitation, I had no idea what would be my role and contribution to this conference. During the interaction, I was surprised to know that gender disparity also exists in organ donation. The insights I gained are eye-opening, highlighting several key factors. For instance, women are more likely to donate organs than men, yet they receive fewer transplants in return. Cultural norms, economic factors, and lesser access to healthcare contribute to this imbalance. These revelations made me realize how deeply ingrained gender disparity are even in critical areas like healthcare and organ donation. Some of Dr. Vivek Kute's inputs I would like to share with all of you. Gender-based inequality in organ transplantation is a recognized global issue that spans all continents, including America and Europe, but poses a particularly significant challenge in Asian countries. An analysis conducted by the European Committee on Organ Transplantation of the Council of Europe revealed that among kidney transplantations performed in 64 countries, most deceased donors were men, whereas a majority of living donors were women. The study also found that about 2/3 of the organ transplant recipients, especially for liver and kidney transplants, were men. Additionally, the United Network for Organ Sharing Registry reported in 2022 that out of 5,864 living donor kidney transplants, 63.7 were from female donors, while female recipients accounted for only 36.2% of all recipients. Studies indicates that females are more likely to donate their organs than males. In many Asian countries, approximately 60% of kidney donors are women, with 64 to 90% of these being wives. Female recipients account for 18 to 40% of transplant in most countries, except in Myanmar, where they make up 52% of recipients. To address the gender disparity in transplantation, particularly in Asian countries, the Asian Organ Transplantation Registry was established in 2022. Its purpose is to collect data and propose potential solutions across the Asia-Pacific region. The data analysis indicated that women are more likely to donate kidneys than men in all countries except Philippines. While the proportion of female recipients both for living donor kidney transplant and deceased donor kidney transplants remain below 50% across the nations. This gender disparity is evident throughout the entire transplantation process for both living and deceased kidney donors. Living kidney donors are predominantly female, while many more men receive transplants. At the Institute of Kidney Disease and Research Center, Institute of Transplantation Sciences in Ahmedabad, 33.7% of 4,787 living donor kidney transplants over the past 2 decades were mothers, and 20.1% were wives. Among 831 deceased donor kidney transplants during the same period, only 32% of recipients were female. Interestingly, in kidney pair donations, the majority of recipients were female, pointing towards underlying socio-economic causes for gender disparity rather than biological ones. Several factors contribute to the gender disparity in transplantation. Traditionally, men are primarily the bread earners in their families, which complicates their ability to donate organs due to the concerns about loss of income and potential for poor recovery or long-term complications. In contrast, women may feel compelled to donate to male relatives for financial and social security, as they often rely on men for stability. Additionally, pregnancy can create challenges in finding compatible matches for female donors. Furthermore, women are generally perceived to have more altruistic disposition, making them more willing to donate to family members in need. The allocation of kidneys from deceased donor is a complex process that relies on point allocation system to prioritize individuals on the organ wait list. This process is governed by the Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act, which oversees organ and tissue procurement and transplantation in India. The NATO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, serves as the apex body under the Directorate General of Health Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, coordinating the procurement and distribution of organs nationwide. Before 2020, the only criteria for deceased donor kidney transplant allocation was the duration spent on the transplant wait list. To enhance and regulate transplantation in Gujarat, SOTO, the State Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, was established in January 2020 for implementing a point-based organ allocation system. The system includes 13 criteria such as HLA, mismatches, serological panel, reactive antibody, donor-specific antibody, age, duration of dialysis, and waitlist duration, amongst others. I am happy to note that female recipients also receive an additional 2 points in this system. A retrospective observational study was conducted at the institute of Kidney Disease and Research Center, Ahmedabad, collecting data for medical records between January 2015 and December 2023. The study analyzed the number of female and male kidney transplant recipients and assessed the impact of the deceased donor kidney transplant allocation policy changes in January 2020 on gender disparity. During the study period, a total of 3,378 kidney transplants were performed, with 2,424 being the living donor kidney transplants and 951 deceased donor kidney transplants. Among 393 kidney transplant donation conducted, 79.64% of recipients were male. The percentage of female living donor kidney transplant recipients remained disproportionately low compared to male recipients throughout the study period. However, there was a significant increase in female deceased donor kidney transplant recipients, nearly doubling from 27.57 in 2019 to 54.19 in 2023. For the first time, the rate of female deceased donor kidney transplant recipients surpassed that of male deceased donor kidney transplant recipients. However, as the deceased donor kidney transplant allocation system involves multiple factors, the rise in the percentage of female deceased donor kidney transplant recipients cannot be attributed to a single cause. It is crucial to view this increase as a temporary solution rather than a definitive resolution to gender disparity in kidney transplantation. Concerns have been raised that this allocation policy for deceased donor kidney transplant could discourage living donor kidney transplant for women. Families may choose to pursue deceased donor kidney transplants in the hope of a quicker organ allocation for female recipients, even when healthy potential donors are available. While the introduction of this deceased donor kidney transplant allocation policy represents a small step towards achieving gender equality in kidney transplantation, it is vital not to lose sight of the long-term objectives. Steps must be taken to ensure equitable access for women at every stage, from diagnosis to treatment. Intensive and timely counseling regarding transplantation should be provided not only to patients but also to key decision makers in their families, typically fathers, husbands, or sons. These policies aim at the social empowerment of women, focusing on education, improving maternal and child health care, and financial independence, raising awareness and fostering education at the grassroots level is essential for changing public attitudes towards organ donation. Addressing misinformation about complications faced by donors and the unethical use of donated organs is crucial for building a community based on trust and altruism, which will ultimately increase the donor pool and mitigate organ shortage in India. Achieving these goals will require collaboration among community social workers, non-government organizations, healthcare professionals, and policy makers at all the state and national levels. This collaborative effort should focus on promoting the registration of female patients on transplant waitlist and encouraging equal organ donation from all genders. In the end, I would extend my profound gratitude to Dr. Vivek Ipute for sharing his valuable insights, which have been significantly contributed to the details that I have presented today before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. May I now request our Chief Patron, Honorable Chief Minister of State of Gujarat, Sri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, to address the meeting with his kind words. Honorable Shri Bhupendrabhai Patel, sir.
इंडियन सोसायटी ऑफ ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट 34મી વાર્ષિક કોન્ફરન્સના ઉદ્ઘાટન સમારંભમાં આપણી સૌની સાથે મંચ ઉપર ઉપસ્થિત સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટના જજ શ્રી જસ્ટિસ ભૂષણ ગવઈજી, નામદાર હાઈકોર્ટના ચીફ જસ્ટિસ શ્રીમતી સુનીતાજી અગ્રવાલ, આઈએસઓટીના ચેરમેન ડોક્ટર વિવેક કુટે, આઈએસઓટીના प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर अवनीश श्रीवास्तव, सचिव श्री मनीष बलवानी, संगठन सचिव डॉक्टर जिगर श्रीमाणी, नामदार हाईकोर्टना सन्मान्य न्यायाधीशों, आमंत्रित महानुभावों, डॉक्टर मित्रों, प्रेस मीडिया मित्रों, आप सौ ने मारा नमस्कार। गुजरात में छे तो लागू જોઈએ ને પણ આપણે હંમેશા વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીનો પણ આપણી સંસ્કૃતિ છે વસુદેવ કુટુંબકમ. આપણે દરેક જણના આપણા કુટુંબના સભ્ય તરીકે જોતા હોઈએ એ આપણી સંસ્કૃતિ છે. અને વર્ષોથી આપણા ધાર્મિકતામાં પણ ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક એવી વાત આવે છે કે પોતાનું શરીર, પોતાની જાત ત્યજી દઈને પણ બીજા માટે ઉપયોગી થવું. તો આ તો એક આખો પ્રોફેશન જેને કહેવાય ડોક્ટર, અને ડોક્ટર માટેની વાત કરતા પહેલા જેને આ ડોનેટ કરવું છે એ ફેમિલી અથવા તો જેનું ડોનેટ લઈ રહ્યા છે એ વ્યક્તિ, એ સમય જ્યારે વાત કરવાની જે સમય છે એ સમય એવો છે કે જેમાં વાત કરવા જવા માટે પણ આપણે માનસિકતા બનાવવી પડે. કારણ કે દરેક જણને ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક સ્વજન ગુમાવવાનું અને ગુમાવ્યા કરતા સામે નજર સામે હોય ત્યાં સુધી તમે જુઓ કે તો આપણી એક હ્યુમન છે કે જ્યાં સુધી નજર સામે છેલ્લો શ્વાસ ચાલતો હોય ત્યાં સુધી તમે તમારી તાકાત એમની એમ હોય, પણ જ્યારે શ્વાસ પડી જાય પછી તમે ઢીલા થઈ જતા. તો આ તો તમારે શ્વાસ છે એમ કહેવાય ને કે ડોક્ટરને ખ્યાલ હવે આમાં તો શ્વાસ ખરો કે નહીં. તમારે બ્રેન ડેડ ની પોઝિશન એટલે શું કહી શકાય ડોક્ટર? હા, એટલે હું થોડું મને ખ્યાલ છે, એમ એવું લાગે છે. પણ એ સમયે આ સામેના માણસની તૈયારી, ફેમિલીની તૈયારી થવી, અને એ તૈયારી માટે જ્યારે પણ મને કહેવામાં આવ્યું છે કે ઓર્ગન ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટેશન માટેની કોઈ પણ મીટિંગ હોય તો મારી તૈયારી હોય કે હું ત્યાં જઉં અને ત્યાં આગળ આપણે બે વાત કરીએ, બે વસ્તુ જાણીશું. તો જાણતા જાણતા આમાં ભગવાન અને ભગવાનની આપણે જીવ, આપણે કેમ જીવ નથી લઈ શકતા કોઈનો? તો કે ભાઈ આપણે કોઈને જીવ આપી શકતા નથી તો આપણે જીવ કેવી રીતે લેવાય? તો આની અંદર ડોક્ટર જે કામ કરી રહ્યા છે, ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટેશન જ્યારે થતું હોય ત્યારે એક જણને નવો જીવ આપતા હોય એટલે ભગવાનના સમકક્ષ ડોક્ટરની ભૂમિકા ભજવવાની હોય. હવે એ સમયે સામેનું ફેમિલી અને ડોક્ટર બંનેની ભૂમિકા ખૂબ આપણા માટે જેને કહી શકાય કે ધૈર્યવાળી હોવી જોઈએ. બાકી તો સરકાર અને સરકાર તરીકેની કામગીરીમાં અમારી પાસે ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક નાના મોટા મુદ્દા આવ્યા હશે તો અમે એની અંદર પૂરી તાકાતથી એને સોલ્યુશન કરવા માટેની તૈયારી બતાવી છે. આપણે દાનની વાત કરતા હતા તો દાનમાં પણ કેટલા પ્રકારના દાન છે આપણે ત્યાં. અન્નદાન, ભૂદાન, કન્યાદાન, વિદ્યાદાન, બધા દાન કરતા પણ ઊંચું દાન એટલે સામેવાળાને જિંદગી આપવી. અને એ દાન વખતે હજુ નાની મોટી પરિસ્થિતિ જે છે આપણા ત્યાં આગળ સમજણની અભાવ ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક હોય ને એના કારણે હજુ કોઈ ફેમિલી તૈયાર ના થતી, તો એના માટે શું કરી શકાય? કારણ કે ધાર્મિક રીતે કદાચ સમજાઈ શકાય, આધ્યાત્મિક રીતે કંઈક સમજાઈ શકાય કે એને સહેજ પણ દુઃખ ના થાય અને એ હા પાડે, એના કાઉન્સિલિંગ માટેની વ્યવસ્થા ખૂબ સારી થાય તો મને ખ્યાલ લાગે છે ત્યાં સુધી આપણે એની અંદર વધુ ને વધુ સારું કામ કરી શકીએ. કારણ કે અહીંયાથી ઘણા બધા ડૉક્ટરો એની અંદર કામ કરી રહ્યા છે અને સેવા ભાવથી કામ કરતા હોય તો આની અંદર વધુ કેટલા જણ હા પાડે, કેટલા જણ ના પાડે એનો રેશિયો આપણે વધુ કરવા માંગીએ છીએ કે ભાઈ જેટલા બને એટલા હા પાડે. કારણ કે ફેમિલીને જ્યારે આ પરિસ્થિતિમાંથી તો એના માટે શું કરી શકાય? એક દરેક જણ સમજાવવાની પદ્ધતિ શું હોઈ શકે કે જેમાં 2-3 વસ્તુ તો એવી આવવી જ જોઈએ કે સામેના માણસના મગજનું સમાધાન થાય અને હા પાડે. તો એ એક કોમન જો નીકળી શકે એવું હોય તો એ મારા ખ્યાલથી કાઢવું જોઈએ. આધ્યાત્મિક રીતે કોઈ તૈયાર થતું હોય, કોઈ ધર્મગુરુ તૈયાર થતા હોય તો એવા નામો આપણી પાસે લિસ્ટ આઉટ કરી રાખવા જોઈએ કે કોઈ પણ એરિયામાં ત્યાં જવાનું હોય તો એ લોકો ત્યાં જઈને કાઉન્સિલિંગ કરી શકે તાત્કાલિક. અને આ વસ્તુ આપણને ટાઈમસર મળે તો પાછું કામનું છે, ટાઈમ ચૂકી જઈએ તો પણ પછી નકામનું છે. મેં હમણાં એક સરસ આ સોશિયલ મીડિયા ચાલે છે એની ઉપર એક અંદરના અંગનું તો દાન ખરું જ, પણ હમણાં એક જણે હાથનું દાન અને એ હું જોતો હતો હાથનું, તો એ પણ ખૂબ સારું. એ છોકરી બી બહુ નાની ઉંમરની હતી જેને દાન મળ્યું એ બહુ ઉત્સાહિત થઈ હતી કે મારું ખરેખર ખૂબ સારું. કારણ કે હજુ આ કદાચ હાથ ને બધાનું તો શરૂ થયું છે હવે 12મું અંગ આપવાનું, તો એ પણ એક સારી વસ્તુ છે અને એમાં પણ કામ થઈ શકે. અને આપણે બધા જો સાથે મળીને કામ કરીશું તો આની અંદર ખૂબ કામ થયું છે. લોકોના ઘણી વખત શું છે કે 2 રીતે હેરાનગતિ કે સામેનું અંગ જે ખરાબ થઈ ગયું છે તો એમાં મરી તો નથી જવાતું, પણ પૈસાની દ્રષ્ટિએ એક તો એને મુશ્કેલી નડ્યા કરે અને શારીરિક કોઈ કામ કરવું હોય તો એ ધ્યાન રાખીને કામ ન કરી શકે. આ બંને પરિસ્થિતિમાંથી એ બહાર આવી જાય તો એના ફેમિલીમાં એની કેટલી અગત્યતા છે એ આપણને ખબર છે. તો એ પણ જો એના ફેમિલીમાં જો આ થઈ જાય, એનું ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટેશન થઈ જાય, કોઈ પણ અંગનું એને જે જરૂર છે એ મળી જાય તો ખૂબ સારો એક માનવ અભિગમ જે છે આપણો, આપણી જે સંસ્કૃતિ છે, આપણી વિરાસત છે, એ વિરાસતને ટકાઈ રાખીને આગળ વધવા માંગીએ છીએ આપણે. ડૉક્ટર મિત્રો અહીંયા આપણે ત્યાં ગુજરાતમાં તો માન્ય નરેન્દ્રભાઈ 2005માં કેડેવર ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામ શરૂ કરાયો 2005માં અને 15માં આપણે યુનિવર્સિટીની સ્થાપના કરી છે. એટલે ગુજરાતમાં એની અંદર આપણે ખૂબ સારી રીતે આગળ વધી રહ્યા છે. હજુ પણ ડૉક્ટર મિત્રોને મારી અપીલ છે કે ભાઈ અમારું ક્યાંય સરકાર તરીકે અમારું ક્યાંય પણ ધ્યાન દોરવાનું હોય કે હજુ વધારે કંઈક સરકાર તરફથી ક્યાંય મદદ જોઈતી હોય કોઈ પણ પ્રકારની તો અમે તૈયાર છીએ. બાકી ખૂબ સારી રીતે ટ્રાન્સપ્લાન્ટેશનનું કામ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશન તરફથી કરવામાં આવી રહ્યું છે. આજે સોફ્ટવેરનું પણ એક લોન્ચિંગ થયું છે તો એનાથી પણ આપણને મદદરૂપ થશે અને આપણે વધુ સારું કામ કરી શકીશું. આપણે સાથે મળીને આ કામ કરીએ, એક થઈને કામ કરીએ એ જ અભ્યર્થના. ભારત માતા કી જય. વંદે માતરમ. જય જગન્નાથ.
May I request our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Gawai, Justice Supreme Court of India, to kindly enlighten us with his words of wisdom.
Shri Bhupendrabhai Patel, the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Justice Sunita Agrawal, Chief Justice of the High Court of Gujarat, my esteemed brother and sister judges from Gujarat High Court, Dr. Anish Srivastava, President of Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, Dr. Arpita Rai Chaudhary, President-elect Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, Dr. Vivek Kute, Organizing Chairperson of the conference, Dr. Manish Balwani, Secretary ISOT, Dr. Jigar Shimari, the Organizing Secretary, Dr. Elme Muller, the President of the Transplant Society, the distinguished members of the Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, the respected faculty, and esteemed guests. I am honored and privileged to address this gathering of the National Conference of the Indian Society of Organ Transplantation. It is really a proud moment for me to discuss and promote awareness about organ donation in India, a subject of immense importance to our society. Before I go ahead with the subject, I must first acknowledge my own limitations on speaking on this topic. I was wondering as to what would I speak before such a distinguished gathering consisting of experts and scholars in the field of organ transplantation, not only from the different parts of the country but also from the entire universe. As a judge, I do not possess technical expertise in the science of organ transplantation. The complexities of medical procedure and the intricate nature of the transplant process are best understood and addressed by the skilled doctors and medical professionals present here. I am in awe of the life-saving work that all of you do every day, and I have immense respect for the depth of knowledge and experience you bring to the table. My contribution in today's discussion will therefore be from a different perspective. One that focuses on the legal, ethical, and societal concerns surrounding organ transplantation in India. These are areas where the law intersects with medicine and where public trust, human rights, and ethical considerations come into play. While I may not be able to offer scientific insights, I hope to shed light on the role the legal system plays in supporting and regulating organ donation, as well as the challenges we face in creating a society that embraces this noble cause. With advancements in medical science, the demand for organ transplants increased significantly. However, this progress brought to the forefront one of India's most pressing challenges: the growing gap between the number of patients in need of life-saving organ transplants and the availability of suitable organs. The shortage of organs then led to a black market for organ trafficking, coercion, and unethical practices, which compromise the safety and dignity of both the recipient as well as the donors. In response to these challenges and to prevent potential exploitation, India recognized the need to create a regulatory framework for organ donation and transplantation. Consequently, the Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act was enacted in 1994. The objective of this act is to regulate the removal, storage, and transplantation of human organs and to prevent any commercial delicts in those organs. The act also recognizes brainstem death as the stage at which all functions of the brainstem have permanently and irreversibly become defunct. To prevent commercialization and ease the process of donation, the Act also defines the first relatives where the donors can donate without any formalities by only proving their relationship with the recipient. The formation of regulating authorities, namely the Authorization Committee and appropriate authority in each state and union territory, has also been stipulated. The Authorization Committee regulates approving or rejecting transplants between the recipient and donor other than the first relatives. On the other hand, the appropriate authority regulates the removal, storage, and transplantation of human organs. The Transplantation Act, along with the regulations and registration of hospitals, also outlines various consents as well as psychiatric evaluation processes to protect the dignity and ensure the consent of the parties. Stringent penalties and punitive measures for the removal of organs without authority, making or receiving payment for supplying organs, or contravening any other provisions of the Act have also been stipulated. Even though this legislation provides for both preventive and punitive measures and appears comprehensive, concerns around organ donation and transplantation still prevail. Commercialization of organ donations, rising need of transplants, as well as compromised ethics have raised concerns at all levels. These problems are not standalone. Instead, they undermine the dignity of the whole process, which is supposed to be a life-saving phenomenon. I want to flag these pressing issues that affect countless lives to the healthcare professionals and experts present here. The first of such issues that we are confronted with is the shortage of available organs for transplants. Every day, patients find themselves on waiting lists. Their hopes pinned on the generosity of donors. Recent data shows that India has a rate of under 1 donor per million population. This rate has been same for over a decade now. The waiting list of patients is over 3 lakhs, and every day, at least 20 people die waiting for a transplant. On top of this, the list of wait-listed patients increases by 1 person every 10 minutes. India also faces the paucity of organ donors, even in the rates of deceased donors. When we talk about a deceased organ transplant, it means the transplantation of a healthy organ from a person who has been declared brainstem dead, which is an irreversible loss of consciousness and ability to breathe. Reports also show that in 2022, living transplants emerged from a number of 13,338. However, deceased transplants that took place were only 2,694. An increase in the number was seen in the last year, 2023. However, the ratio of living to deceased transplants remained disproportionate. Living transplants emerged to a number of 15,435, whereas only 2,935 deceased transplants took place. The data released by the National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization also shows that the average wait list of patients per donor is 2671, which reflects the high demand and low supply. Despite the advancements in medical technology and awareness campaigns, the country still records low transplants, which is far below the global average. This shortage exacerbates the organ waiting list, leaving many patients without the life-saving transplants they need. While India already faces a shortage of organs available for transplants, another development in this area is that foreign nationals prefer getting organ transplants in India. As reported, India conducted 1,851 organ transplants for foreign nationals in 2023, which accounts for nearly 10% of the total transplants that took place in India. The report also mentions that the majority of foreign patients come from countries like Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Nepal, where transplant facilities are either unavailable or still developing. A considerable portion has also arrived from the UK and US because the cost of the procedure are considerably low as compared to the other developed nations. Another issue that arises with the influx of patients is the risk of commercialization of organ transplant activities, leading to a need of sensitization. Recently, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has flagged this concern of possible commercial dealings and has sought help from the Ministry of External Affairs to help establish a system to curb any violation and to monitor the process of organ transplantation of foreigners in India. In the wake of this issue, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has also issued an advisory to make international patients aware of the organ transplant protocol and legal framework in the country. The guidelines include publishing the set of transplant guidelines on websites, portals of the Bureau of Immigration, as well as at the prominent places like airports. This discussion leads to another concern surrounding the shortage of organs available for transplants and calls for consideration of another issue. This issue is to look into the general health of the people. The why behind the need for organ transplants has to be considered. Research shows that misuse and overconsumption of certain medications can significantly contribute to organ failures in patients. Many drugs, particularly those used for chronic conditions, can have toxic effects on organs such as liver and the kidneys. Research shows that prolonged use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, for example, may lead to kidney as well as liver damage. It is essential for doctors and medical experts to exercise caution regarding the potential for misuse or overconsumption of certain medications to contribute to organ failure. Recently, over 50 drugs, out of which many are consumed regularly by people and sometimes without any prescription, failed to pass the drug regulators quality test by the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. This raises significant safety concerns as to the current status of our healthcare system. The prohibition of certain medicines indicates the potential lapses in safety and efficacy, prompting critical questions about the practices and protocols that led to their widespread use. I urge upon doctors and healthcare experts to take proactive steps to ensure that the medications prescribed are not only effective but also safe. This can help prevent adverse effects that may lead to organ damage and ultimately reduce the stress on the transplant system. This also aligns with Article 47 of the Constitution of India, which mandates the state to improve public health. Healthcare professionals and experts have a responsibility to advocate for robust monitoring and reporting system to ensure that the medications prescribed are not only effective but also safe. Let me now share another crucial fact. Reports have highlighted the gendered nature of organ donations and transplants, which was referred by the learned Chief Justice. A static statistic by experts in the field reveals that 70 to 75% of the organ donors in India are female, whereas another government data report shows that more than 80% of the total transplants that took place between 95 to 2021 were performed on men. This means that 4 out of 5 persons receiving organs transplants are men, while the donors are mostly women. While women tend to step forward as living donors, often donating to family members as well as strangers. This trend also reflects societal expectations from women to sacrifice for their families. The disparity highlights a potential disconnect where men may not feel the same urgency or responsibility to register as donors. Reports and medical experts are of the view that women constitute a low number of organ recipients as they are not prioritized as much as the men and the male children in traditional family structure. It has also been agreed by doctors that organ donations, if caused, can cause physical and emotional stress to women. Live organ donation is a complex surgery that can have lasting effects on the donors. Addressing this disparity and encouraging equitable organ donation across the demographics is crucial to bridging the gap between demand and supply, while ensuring that the burden of donation does not disproportionately fall on one segment of society. I urge that efforts to be made to educate both genders about the importance of organ donation, dispel myths and encourage all individuals, regardless of gender, to participate in this life-saving act. In the case of common causes, the Supreme Court has considered the ethics and professional codes which are inherent to all the citizens. It is an established constitutional principle that fundamental right to life and liberty under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution includes the right to live with dignity. It was held in the case of common causes that the right to live with dignity includes the right to live with dignity up to the end of natural life. In the said case, the court also discussed the concept of autonomy and privacy. It was observed that, and I quote, a common theme that flows in all these opinions is that privacy recognizes the autonomy of the individual. Every person has the right to make essential choice that affect the course of life. He has to be given full liberty and freedom in order to achieve his desired goals of life. And the concept of privacy is contained not merely in personal liberty, but also in the dignity of the individual. Similarly, in the case of Jija Ghosh versus Union of India, the Supreme Court has extensively dealt with the dignity of persons where human dignity was held to be a constitutional value and constitutional goal. Through the development of Indian jurisprudence, it can be said that primacy is given to the dignity of the patient not only when they are alive, but even in the last days of their lives. It is seminal that the consent and autonomy of organ donors are given due importance. The first step taken towards ensuring the consent of the donor is abiding by the guiding principles laid down by the World Health Organization. Guiding principle of World Health Organization states that any posthumous removal of cells, tissues, or organs has to be done with the consent of the person. To ensure complete autonomy and consent of the donor, it is crucial to ensure that the consent is informed, voluntary, and free from coercion. For living donors, this can also mean clear communication about the risks, the benefits, and alternatives, and assurances that their decisions will be respected without pressure from external influences. In the case of deceased donors, the consent provided before the death or by their families must be honored in its entirety, ensuring that the donor's wishes are carried out with integrity. In this regard, the Supreme Court, in the case of common causes, also recognized advance directives as a valid legal framework. The court observed, and I quote, if a decision on whether or not to receive medical treatment is valid for the present, such a decision must be equally valid when it is intended to operate in future. Advance directives are, in other words, grounded in a recognition by the law of the importance of consent as an essential attribute of personal liberty. It is the consensual nature of the act underlying the advance directives which imparts sanctity to it in future in the same manner as a decision in the present on whether or not to accept medical treatment. The court laid down certain guidelines on who can execute the advance directives and how. What should it contain? How should it be recorded and preserved? When and by whom can it be given effect to? What if permission is refused by the medical board? Revocation or inapplicability of advance directives, etc. While ensuring the dignity of the donors is a goal, preserving the interest and dignity of the recipient must also be taken into consideration. Guideline 9 of WHO Guiding Principles stipulates that the organs, cells, and tissues must be guided by clinical criteria and ethical norms instead of any financial or other considerations. The principle urges that the allocation rules must be made on equitable standards and must be justified and transparent. It also stipulates that allocation rules must be defined by appropriately constituted committees. Even though India's nodal agencies established at state levels to take charge of the allocation of human organs, it is an important task to ensure that the allocation process is transparent and justified. After undergoing an organ transplant, recipients often face physical, emotional, and social challenges as they adapt to their lifestyle changes and transition to their normal lives. Ensuring their smooth reintegration is essential for preserving their dignity. Recipients should also be provided with comprehensive social support, including counseling, access to community network, and opportunities for rehabilitation. This helps them regain confidence and independence, reinforcing their sense of belonging to a society. Research shows that restoring the social functioning of a patient demands a transition. This transition needs support from close family or friends. Professional support may also be required for patients with poor or non-existent social networks. Adapting to this transition can also be tougher for people with special needs. To help such people adapt to their normal lives in a smoother manner, the principle of reasonable accommodation must be adhered to. Recently, in its judgment, the Supreme Court has also recognized the importance of reasonable accommodation to persons with disabilities. The main argument is that substantive equality can only be achieved when people are accommodated in society and in their day-to-day dealings based on their individual capacity. A sense of being different from the rest is only introduced in the lives of such people due to the absence of access to facilities. Interactions with barriers make one feel uncomfortable with their differences and not their inherent limitations. Hence, to enable the reintegration of donors as well as recipients in society, their interaction with barriers must be reduced through support, and access to facilities must be made easier for them to live normal lives. I also wish to highlight that people from marginalized backgrounds face significant challenges in accessing organ transplantation due to high cost, limited access to health care, disparities in waitlist placement, and lack of awareness. When I came to attend this function, I was told that the disparity in the transplant in the government hospital and the private hospital is so huge that in private hospital one has to spend more than 10 times than in government hospital. These disparities in organ transplantation highlight the urgent need for affordable health care. The Supreme Court in common cause observed, for marginalized groups in urban and rural India, even basic medical care is a distant reality. When medical care is financially accessible, it ensures that life-saving treatments like organ transplant are available to all, regardless of economic background. Affordable health care reduces the financial burden on patients, improves equity in medical access, and ensures that socio-economic status does not determine who receives essential medical care. The judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Paschim Banga Case Mazdoor Sangh versus the state of West Bengal highlighted that the state must ensure health services are accessible and affordable to all. I conclude with the note that organ donation is not just a medical procedure. It is a profound act of humanity, one that offers hope and a second chance at life to those in need. However, as we move forward, we must strike a delicate balance between saving lives and ensuring the dignity of all the parties involved. The urgency of saving lives must not overshadow the ethical considerations that protect the autonomy, consent, the rights of both donors and recipients. By promoting awareness, increasing equitable participation of all the demographics, and ensuring transparency in the donation process, we can uphold the will and personal integrity of every individual in this life-saving journey. I encourage each of us to advocate for organ donation, to speak, to spark conversation in our communities, and if possible, to make the selfless decision to donate. I, on my part, I also already pledged for organ donation on 10th of September 2015 at a function held by one foundation at Patron. Every donation is not just a gift of life, but a testament to the value of compassion and respect of human dignity. It also makes a huge difference when people of power and status decide to donate their organs. When they act for the cause of the society, it influences the society as a whole. I take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Sakti for preparing such a wonderful software platform for soft transplant, wherein all donors throughout the country and all recipients throughout the country will be brought on the same platform, and it will be easier to match the donor and the recipient. As I congratulate the ISOT for bringing this concept of one nation, one transplant. I'm happy that this conference is held in Gujarat, which is one of the leading states in the organ transplantation. The ITDRC is one of the biggest transplant institutes in the country, having a facility of 1200 beds and only devoted to the transplant. Last but not least, organ donation is not only an individual commitment, but also an institutional responsibility. Together, we have the power to save lives, while ensuring the rights and honor of all involved are protected. Let us embrace this cause with commitment, knowing that through our efforts, we can make a lasting difference for the generations to come. I am extremely grateful to the ISOT and specifically to Dr. Kute and Dr. Balwani for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this noble cause. I thank everyone present here and declare ISOT 2024 to be inaugurated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Jigar Srimadi, Honorable Organizing Secretary of the 34th Annual Conference of the ISOT 2024 Ahmedabad, to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Honorable dignitaries on the dais, esteemed guests, respected faculties, and fellow colleagues, as we draw the curtain on the inaugural session of 34th Annual Conference of Indian Society of Organ Transplantation, I want to take an opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for gracing this event with your presence. First and foremost, I would like to extend my special thanks to our esteemed Chief Patron, Honorable Sri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, for the inspiring words. I extend my special thanks to distinguished Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan R. Gawai, and Chief Minister. With this, I am extending my thanks to Madam Sunita Agrawal, Madam, Chief Justice, Gujarat High Court. I'd like to recognize and appreciate the efforts of ISOT 2024 organizing committee, in which Executive Council of ISOT 2024. With this, my heartfelt thanks would be to Dr. Vivek Kute, Dr. Anish Srivastav sir, and Dr. Manish R. Balwani. Additionally, my sincere appreciation goes to our security personnel, event management team for ensuring smooth and safe experience for all the participants. And as we embark on the journey of ISOT 2024, let us remember that each of us had a role to play in advancing the mission of organ donation and transplantation. Through collaboration, innovation, and sharing learning, we can overcome challenges and achieve our shared goal, and ensuring access to life-saving transplant for every patient in need. So I encourage all of you to actively participate in the discussions and workshops for the next few days as we explore new frontiers and exchange ideas that will shape the future of transplantation in India and beyond. Once again, thank you all for being part of the grand inaugural ceremony. Your enthusiasm will undoubtedly make ISOT 2024 an unforgettable, impactful event. With this, I formally declare the inaugural session of ISOT 2024. Thank you, and I look forward to see you, all of you, engaging actively in the sessions ahead. Thank you.
With this, we formally announce that the inaugural ceremony has concluded. I request you all to please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे वैष्णवा